So today I'm going to talk about React concepts and its basics and some important packages that we need or that we must know. So React is basically client-side rendering that does render the pages based on components. So we split the pages into components, and we can it is done so that we can reuse the pages or components in other pages or other folders. So there are many ways to create React. So we can use create React app, and then the basic structure of the React will be appeared. And also there is frameworks for creating React, and some of the frameworks are like Vite. Vite is basically a framework that does the same thing as create React app, but in a more faster way and in a more organized way. And I think Vite is more faster than create React app, and the official documentation also says that they does not recommend create React app, rather than they prefer Vite. So it is something that creates the basic structure of the React folders along with some additional features that can be used while rendering a component or while rendering the pages. So, and it's much faster than create React app. React uses states and context API. So like states is basically whenever components value or something changes, it can be re-rendered. The component only can be re-rendered and without reloading the whole page. While we used to code in JavaScript, when we refresh the page, the value used to appear. But now in React, so we divide into components. So we give state for each component. So when we give state for each component, and when something or any changes appear into the state, then at that time only the component will be re-rendered. So there is also like a use effect. So use effect is used to mount. So earlier there was lifecycle components, that is mount, unmount, and will mount. So basically when the page renders, it used to collect the data from the API and then show it in the page on the starting of the page, that is on mount. So on mounting is basically a class-based concept. So like nowadays we are using function-based concepts. So there is a replacement for mounting and lifecycle components, that is use effect. So use effect is basically takes two arguments, a function and a dependency. So like when we give empty dependency, it keeps on running whenever we refresh the page. And when we want to re-render only once when the page loads, we can give a dependency of an empty bracket of an array. And when the page loads, if we give a function inside that use effect, so it will re-render, it will load the function also. So it can be done for using for getting the API calls when the page loads it. And also there is a concept like context API. So context API is basically a state managing tool. That is when we want to pass any data to any components, we use props. So when so many components come, it is very hard to like pass the props to every children. So it is very hard to like manage the props. So to avoid the prop drilling, context API is introduced. Context API is basically stores all the information in a state variable, and then we can access it from anywhere. So and other concept of React is Firebase. So Firebase is basically a small storage or a database. We can say that like we can store anything in that. And also we can use and we use now currently we use Redux. Redux is basically same as context API, but context API cannot be used in large applications, as when more data come, it will be hard. it will be hard to manage the data, and this is when we use React Redux. So React Redux is now becoming older, and now everyone uses Toolkit. So Toolkit simplifies the overall working of the React Redux, and then easily, like, we can use functions to call Redux states. So Redux is also a state management, so it stores in a global variable, and then we can access data from anywhere using dispatcher and selector. So, and also now a new technology has come, that signals. So when we use in state, the whole component re-renders, and it will, like, the whole component re-renders. So if you put an increment operator, and when we increment, the whole increment component re-renders. So when we use signals, only the value of the re-render. So basically, when we create a increment function with addition and a subtraction, we give a value for a text box, and in use state, the whole component that is along with the addition and subtraction button also re-renders. But in signals, only the value that is the text box re-renders. So that is one of the important things that has changed nowadays. And also other package manager is like, we can use many package managers that to simplify React. So there is a React icon, so we can import icons from React, and we can use them, like, any icons, and we can also use animated icons. And React is basically component based. So MUI, that is Material UI, is a website that provides components based on, so, like, they split into components. So for example, if we need a button, we can visit Material UI website and then copy the component, and then we can use it in the form. So that is one of the advantages of React. So each component is different, so tracking it is easy, and organizing it is very easy. So thank you. This was my seminar. Thank you.